Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, what if the biggest thing holding you back isn't your lack of opportunity? What if it isn't your boss, your spouse, your team, your finances? What if the biggest thing standing in your way is the person you see in the mirror every single day? Because here's the truth. You can't consistently lead people to places you've never led yourself. You can expect people to trust someone who doesn't understand themselves. And too many people, they want influence without introspection, right? They want the title before they actually build the character. They want the platform before they actually build the person. And today, I want to challenge that way of thinking. Because here's the thing. Self-awareness isn't just another personal development buzzword. It's the foundation of every healthy relationship, every healthy leader, every healthy organization. And if you stay with me until the end of this video, I'm going to give you 5 practical principles that can completely change the way you communicate, the way you lead and show up in every area of your life. So let's get into it. So we've been taught to chase leadership. Become the manager, start the business, build the brand, grow the ministry, launch the podcast, get the promotion, grow your influence. Check this out. None of those things are bad. But here's the problem. Almost nobody teaches us how to lead ourselves first. So we spend so many years, so much time trying to influence other people while remaining strangers to ourselves. And that's very, very dangerous. Because talent may open doors, right? But character is what keeps those doors open. You can have vision, confidence, charisma, intelligence, experience. But if you don't know yourself, eventually your blind spots will sabotage your influence. Think about it. Most people know more about their favorite athlete than they know about themselves. They know about the statistics, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James. They know the lyrics, the movie quotes, the sports scores, social media trends. But ask them this. What causes you to become defensive? What drains your energy? What motivates you? What are your blind spots? What happens to you under pressure? And most people can't answer. And when you don't know yourself, you unintentionally make everyone else pay for what you refuse to understand. What you refuse to understand. Let's make this personal. How many conversations have you walked away from thinking they just don't get me? Yo, maybe they don't. But maybe you don't get you either. Right? Maybe you don't get you either. Maybe your employees aren't disengaged. Right? Maybe they're confused. Maybe your communication creates uncertainty instead of clarity. And maybe your marriage doesn't keep having the same argument over and over again, not because either of you are bad people, but because neither of you understand each other and how you naturally communicate. So maybe your kids aren't ignoring you, but maybe they're just wired differently. And here's what hurts. When we lack self-awareness, we become experts at blaming everyone else. Right? Everyone else, they're lazy. They're disrespectful. They're too emotional. They're too sensitive. They're impossible. But sometimes the issue isn't everyone else. Sometimes the issue is us. And that's hard to hear. But healing doesn't begin where excuses live. Healing begins where honesty lives. And you can't change what you're unwilling to confront. So what's the answer? Self-awareness. Not self-obsession. Not selfishness, self-awareness. Knowing who you are, understanding how you're wired, recognizing your strengths, owning your weaknesses, understanding your emotions, learning your patterns, because awareness creates options. When I'm unaware, I react. Right? I react. When I'm aware, I respond. When I'm unaware, I assume. But when I'm aware, I ask questions. When I'm unaware, I blame, right? Blame. When I'm aware, I grow. And the greatest leaders aren't perfect people. They're aware people. Because they understand the first person they have to lead is themselves. The first person you have to lead is yourself. So here's what I don't want to happen. I don't want you to finish this video and think, wow, yo, that was good. and then go right back to living the same way, right? Because information doesn't change your life. You can have all the information in your world and never change. Application changes it. You don't grow because you hear truth. You grow because you live truth. So I don't just want to inspire you today. I want to equip you. I want to leave you with 5 principles that can completely change the way you lead, the way you communicate, the way you make decisions, right? The way you show up in every relationship. Because remember this, the quality of your leadership will never exceed the quality of your self-awareness, right? It will never exceed the quality of your self-awareness. So let's get into it. Number 1, know your default setting. Know your default setting. Every one of us has a natural way of operating. Some people move fast. Others process slowly. Some people communicate directly. Others build relationships first. Neither is right. Neither is wrong. They're just simply different. And the problem begins when we expect everyone to think like us. Leadership isn't getting everyone to become like you. Leadership is learning to connect with people who aren't. Ask yourself, who do I naturally become when pressure shows up? Who do I naturally become when pressure shows up? Because pressure doesn't create your character. It doesn't create your character. Pressure reveals your character, right? Pressure reveals it. Number 2, your greatest strength can become your greatest weakness. Confidence is powerful. It's a powerful thing until it becomes arrogance. Attention to detail is very valuable until it becomes perfectionism. Being driven is inspiring until ambition actually costs you your family. Passion is contagious until it becomes impatience. Every strength has a shadow. Healthy leaders know both. Ask yourself, when does my greatest gift begin hurting the people I'm actually trying to help? That is self-awareness. Number 3, learn your triggers. You have to know your triggers. Some of us don't have anger problems. We have awareness problems because every emotional reaction has a root. Nobody just explodes. Nobody just shuts down. Nobody just becomes defensive. Something triggered it, right? Something triggered it. Maybe it was rejection. Maybe it was criticism. Maybe it reminded you of a wound that you never healed. If you never identify your triggers, you'll spend your whole life, your whole entire life apologizing for reactions you never learned to control. Healthy people don't ignore emotions. They investigate. They investigate them. Instead of asking, why are they making me mad? Ask, what is this situation revealing about me? And that is where healing begins. Number 4, stop expecting everyone to think like you. Right? Different isn't difficult. It's not difficult. Different is just different. Your spouse isn't trying to frustrate you. They just process differently. Your employees aren't challenging your authority. They may simply need clarity. Your child isn't necessarily rebellious. They may need a different approach. And leadership isn't about changing everyone. It's about understanding everyone, right? Because when understanding increases, conflict decreases. Number 5, growth begins with ownership. Here's one question every leader should ask. When something goes wrong, what's my first response? Do I blame or do I reflect? Weak leaders project their ego. Strong leaders protect the mission. Strong leaders say, I could have communicated better. I should have listened more. I need to grow. Ownership isn't weakness. Ownership is power, because the moment you own your part, you gain the power to change your whole future. So here's my question. What are you going to do with what you heard today? Because here's what I know. You can close this video, feel inspired for the next hour, and go right back to the same habits. Or you can decide that today is the day you begin doing the deeper work. That's exactly why I created the True You Intelligence Black Book, right? The True You Intelligence Black Book. I didn't create it to give you another book. That's not what I wanted to do. Another book to just sit on the shelf. I created it to give you a mirror because most people spend their lives trying to figure everyone else out, but never slow down long enough to understand themselves. And inside this book, inside this black book, you'll discover reflection questions, practical exercises, intentional prompts, right? And powerful tools designed to help you uncover your strengths, recognize your blind spots, understand your patterns, right? And become the healthiest, right? The healthiest version of yourself. Because here's the truth. You can't change what you're unwilling to confront. You cannot change what you're unwilling to confront. And you can't consistently lead others well until you first learn to lead yourself. If you're serious about becoming the person you were created to become, click the link in the description and get your copy of the True Intelligence Black Book, right? Don't just consume this information. Commit to transformation, all right? Commit to transformation. Before you leave, I want you to do 3 things. First, ask yourself this question. What is one area of my life where I need greater self-awareness? And be honest. Be honest. That's where growth begins. Number 2, drop a comment below and tell me one thing you've learned about yourself that has made you a better leader, that has made you a better spouse, a better parent, or simply a better human being. Your story may be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And finally, if this message challenged you, to encouraged you, or gave you a new perspective, don't keep it to yourself, right? Share it. Share it with someone who's committed to becoming better. Make sure you subscribe. All right, make sure you subscribe, because every week we're helping people discover who they are, who they truly are, so they can communicate better, they can lead better, and live with greater purpose. And remember this, the greatest investment you'll ever make isn't in your business. It isn't in your career. It isn't in your reputation. The greatest investment that you'll ever make is in becoming the healthiest version of yourself. Because when you know yourself, you lead with confidence. You love with intention, and you communicate with wisdom. All right. And you leave a legacy that outlives your success, right? I'll see you soon. I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button.